I want to build cross-platform GUI apps using C++, and I've been told that Dear ImGui is an awesome GUI toolkit. So today I'm building a simple GUI app using Raylib, Dear ImGui, and CMake. Despite having decades of programming experience, I've never used ImGui before. So let's see how easy it really is to use, how easy it is to get started with. So by the end of this video, we'll have a working test app, and that'll form a solid template for future projects. Let's get started. First though, let's answer the most obvious question. Why Raylib and ImGui for building an app? Aren't they for making games? No. Okay, yes, Raylib is a video game programming library, but it's actually a lot more than that. It makes a great multimedia library in general, and it's also cross-platform and pretty easy to use, which is why I like it. Similarly, while Dear ImGui is very popular in the game industry, it's more than capable of building complex GUIs for pretty much any app. Immediate mode GUIs, that's what ImGui stands for, are popular in gaming because they're particularly easy to integrate into their real-time graphics engines. That doesn't mean that they're only for games though, and they have been used to build serious apps. So that's why I'm using these libraries. Raylib provides the cross-platform ability and a lot of low-level stuff like loading images, drawing stuff, playing sounds, handling inputs, that sort of thing. And Dear ImGui makes creating GUIs easy. At least that's what I've been told. With that out of the way, let's get started for real. So first we need to get Raylib and ImGui to work together. And that's been made easy because someone's already created a library for that, ImGui. This one handles the integration between Raylib and Dear ImGui. So that's solved. We can move on. We need to create a skeleton project. And I'm using CMake as build system because it's my new go-to for new C++ projects. And here is where we hit our first hurdle. If you look at ImGui and ImGui, you'll notice there's no CMake build script, which means we need to manually import these libraries into our project. But actually, it's not that hard. When you look at it closer, so ImGui is literally, the library is literally one source file, this imgui.cpp, and a few header files. And likewise, while Dear ImGui itself doesn't have a build script for the core library, the library is 5 source files and a handful of header files. So all we really need to do is add all of these source files to our project and make sure that the root directory for ImGui and ImGui are in the include directories list so that our code can see these header files. And here's my CMake code for adding the ImGui library to my project. So down here you can see there's an add library. We add those 5 source files in here, and then we use target include directories to add the ImGui root directory as an include directory in our project. And that's done. This code up here, this will fetch ImGui from GitHub, fetch the version we want. I actually copied and pasted bits from my own book, the CMake tutorial, in order to build this script. Turns out that the tutorial also makes a great reference. Anyway, so now I copy and paste one of the example projects from ImGui into my main.cpp, and we compile and run it. And we have a working app. Great. So over here we've got the standard Dear ImGui demo, which shows you what all the widgets are and the window options and the layouts and everything else. And here we've got the app's test window, which has a little icon over here and a photo of a parrot in a test window. Let's take a quick look at the code to see how it works. So if you're familiar with Raylib, then you should recognize most things. You've got the initialization up here, the main game loop, and the cleanup. This code up here sets up the main window. And then we've got our first ImGui call, this ImGui setup, which basically sets up everything that ImGui needs in order to work with Raylib. And from there, yeah, we load the parrot image and then enter the main game loop. So while the window shouldn't close, we begin drawing. This is a Raylib call, clear the background, and then down the bottom here we've got end drawing, so all the drawing code goes in between those two. And all the ImGui stuff goes between ImGui begin. So this sets up ImGui for drawing and handling the GUI, and RL ImGui end. So nice and straightforward. And yes, because this is an immediate mode GUI, the code to draw and to handle the GUI goes right into the game loop. It doesn't get created ahead of time, and there's no messages and signals and stuff to send around and receive. It's all in here. So first thing it does is it calls show demo window. So this opens up, doesn't open up, this displays and handles the ImGui demo window that you saw. And then this example code creates its own window, which is begin. Begin is short for begin window, and end here. Once again, everything that goes in this window is created with the code in between begin and end. So we add the Jedi icon, which is what you saw at the top. If you weren't sure what that is, this is from Star Wars. And then this RL ImGui image adds the parent image to the window. And that's basically it. Now let's do something more interesting. After all, copying and pasting code does not make you a programmer. And it also gives us no idea at all how easy or hard Dear ImGui is to use. To do that, we need to build an actual GUI of our own. Nothing too fancy. Here's what I want to build. So on the left, we'll have a toolbar. And on the right, we'll have the main display area where we've got a photo, let's say, of a Kea. And then in the toolbar, I want two controls. So I want controls to control the zoom of the photo so that we can zoom this photo in and out. And below that, a color control that will adjust the window's background color. So simple, but enough to get our hands dirty and try ImGui out and get a bit of a feel for things. Let's build this. At this point, I kind of fell off the deep end. I thought it would be a great idea to use Dear ImGui's docking feature. It's part of a separate branch. Docking is more complex by nature because you've got a very dynamic, resizable, movable, adjustable GUI. And Dear ImGui's docking API is still a work in progress. So a lot of it is considered unstable, which means if you use that part of the API, future changes may break it. And I ended up going round and round in circles, frustrated that I couldn't get the stable docking API to do what I wanted. It all seems so hard. Eventually, I came to my senses and realized that I didn't need docking at all, at least not for such a simple GUI. So all I needed to do was create a background window that filled the entire app window, and then within that have a child window for the toolbar and a child window for the main display, and to put the widgets I needed inside of that. So after a bit of time and effort, I got it working. So let's just start it up and I'll show you. Here you go. On the right, you've got the Kea, and on the left, you've got the controls. So I can scale the Kea up and down, and everything is moving smoothly, which is nice. And I can also change the window's background, and you can see the background filtering through the toolbar as well, which is pretty cool. So this is exactly what I wanted to build. Let's take a look at the code which does this. So the main part is over here. First, I've got the menu bar to create the menu bar. There's not much in there, just the file, the quit menu option, and to open and close the ImGui demo. Because this is a test app, I decided to include the demo window. And then here is our actual display code. So these 5 lines here create the background window that covers the entire app window. So basically we take the viewport and we set our background window to be the size and cover the entire space of the app window. And then we tell ImGui we want no decorations, so no borders, no title bar on the window. And also don't bring it to front when it's got focus. So we don't want it to go in front of any other window that we might put on top of it. And then within there, we build our 2 child windows with begin child, end child. So again, very simple, begin child, end child, and in between we add the widgets that go inside that child window. I have to say, I found laying out widgets with ImGui to be very easy. So they're basically laid out in the order that you do the function calls, starting in the top left-hand corner of the window. And if you want the next widget group or child window to be to the right, then you call this same line here. So I'm calling the same line in between the 2 child windows. And if you want it to go below, then you just call nothing. You just call the function to create the next control immediately below. You'll notice up here, I'm calling new line in between because I want to put a bit of space between this set of controls and the next one. But I've got here, you've got the text gadget saying background color, and then immediately I'm calling color edit 3. Okay, I've got this width adjustment. Maybe you should say between the text and the slider float, there are no other calls. So that just puts it immediately below. So yeah, the only weird thing that I found was that each control needs to have its own unique name. And if you don't want that name to be shown, then you need to put this double hash in, which, well, it's just the way it works. Actually, once you know that, it's very convenient. You just put a double hash in if you don't want this name displayed, and you're good to go. So that's the layout done. Now, how do we communicate the program state in between our app code and the GUI? Well, this is where immediate mode GUIs are very easy. So you see here in the slider float call, we pass the image scale variable as a pointer. So this allows slider float to both see the current value of image scale and thereby draw the correct thing, and also modify it. So if I move the slider, then slider float can update image scale and our app immediately gets the updated value. So this is different from retain mode GUIs where you need to call setters and getters, or you have signals and messages flying around. It's very straightforward, which is one of the things that makes immediate mode GUIs easy to use. Our app basically has 2 variables containing the app state. Where are they here? Image scale and background color. And they are used directly, whether it's our code or GUI code. This was just a simple test, but I have to say I'm liking the Raylib and Dear ImGui combo. I've turned this little app into a template for future use. It's a great little project starter. So if you want the template to kickstart your own projects, it's available to both Kea Campus Creator and Hire members, and also to subscribers to my newsletter. So click the link below the video, join the newsletter or Kea Campus or both. You'll get this template and I'll send you other useful stuff too. I'll make it worth your while. That's it for now. A big thank you to Kea Campus members for sponsoring this video. See you next time.